All right, everybody. Live number 2. Thank you for joining me. Buying love. The price of being scammed. Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. No matter if you're young or old, short or tall, big or little, love can catch us all with our pants down. Even if it's not real love, some people still want to feel something, but don't let your desperation lead you to being broke. Jennifer Salazar with the Better Business Bureau joins us now to talk about the rising prevalence of romance scams and how individuals are falling victim to deceptive schemes out there. I had never realized there were more than 50 million people on dating apps, and many of them can run into pitfalls when it comes to romance scams that are out there.
Yes, and it's hard to believe, but yes, that is the accurate number. And, of all ages, from teenagers all the way up to, I had a client, 101, it affects everyone.
And how heartbreaking is it when someone is simply out there looking for love, and you guys see all of these scams at the Better Business Bureau? How heartbreaking is it for you to see people who are out there looking for love taken advantage of by scam artists?
It's devastating because we've had lots of cases where, the consumer has lost everything, their whole life savings. It's embarrassing for them. Even stories of suicide, unfortunately, it is devastating because that person really believes that they found their soulmate. And then when they realize that this person never existed, that it was all a scam, it's devastating. And you have to end up telling the story to other people. And, it's financially devastating. It takes a toll on your mental health. It's like a loss. It's like
embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
It brings, especially if you're telling people, I've met Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, and you find out this person wasn't real at all, and you have to reveal that to family members and friends.
In some instances, they believe that they know the person all along. Somebody may contact them from high school saying, we haven't seen each other in 50 years. We have our high school reunion coming up. Because remember, people can and do steal photos, and that's called catfishing. And what they do is they might find an old yearbook, and then they find a picture of you dancing at prom and send that picture of your sweetheart. Then come to find out that person never even existed. It was not the sweetheart. Scammers will do anything they can to get their money. And they even search the obituaries looking for people that just lost someone, contact them out of the blue, especially around Valentine's Day, because I feel like this is the time that they may be looking for love in all the wrong places. And unfortunately, that's online. Everything's online these days.
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Guarding your heart could also be guarding your pockets. Millions of scammers are out there trying to get your money, and they are getting more creative every day. Jennifer Salazar with the Better Business Bureau joins us to talk about these new scams and how even the most analytical person could fall prey.
Happening right now at
Brief intermission. Thank you for joining me.
When they lose a loved one or family member or friend, and then when you're looking for love, both very vulnerable and they're looking to take advantage. What kind of scams have you guys seen to make the public aware out there at the Better Business Bureau so they can be aware and look out for these scams?
So one of them is the romance scam. For example, the one we're talking about, where it looks like a celebrity and you think, oh, this person's interested in me and they're talking to me. And it turns out it's not even that person, because you got to remember, we have AI now, artificial intelligence, but you also have where people can and do steal those photos. And we have something called a money mule, which is involved with the romance scam. So you are communicating with someone and they have this big emergency, you give them money, but then they pay you back and they give you more money because they want to come live with you someday, and they need help with a deposit, and then they need you to go pay their taxes. What you don't realize is that you're not only a victim of the romance scam, you're now doing money laundering. Because what you're doing is this person's paying you money, so you think it's legitimate. They paid me back and then some, and I'm setting up a place for us to live. They're wanting to move that money as much as they can, so it's hard for investigators to see that, it's laundering because they're moving it constantly. And there you go. So not only are you a victim of the romance scam, you're now involved in money laundering. So the biggest tip is if you don't know this person and they contact you out of the blue, do a reverse lookup. For example, when my grandmother was alive, she used to get friend requests all the time, not just on, dating sites, but on Facebook. And it was usually gentlemen in military uniform that just retired or a doctor in a nice coat. And he would send her a message like, Linda, I'd love to get to know you better. What I did is I taught her how to do that reverse lookup. And that scammer was actually on like 962 websites. None of us are tech savvy. So if you don't know how to look it up, call us. Call me directly. I'll show you how to look it up. We'll look it up. We'll verify if that person is real or not. For gentlemen, usually you'll get a message from a lady that's a model in another country. Again, do a reverse lookup. If you're not tech savvy, if you've never been on the internet, call us. We can do that for you. We can show you. The biggest thing is just don't give your money away. You work so hard for your money. Keep your money. Even if they've had an emergency, even if they've had something horrible in their life, don't give away your hard-earned cash.
And we've seen, I think, from the website socialcatfish.com, where they have released the 100 most used photos in romance scams. And I guess people just recycle them, reuse them, and it's the same people, but people still fall for it.
Exactly. People fall for them because when you think about it, we cannot go to every doorstep in America or around the world and show them all these pictures. Not everyone knows to look up these sites. And not only that, when you see somebody that is attractive trying to contact you and you're lonely, you're self-isolated, you don't have anyone, you're excited just to have human contact. But the fact that this person is even wanting to talk to you, that's a big deal to a lot of folks, especially with Valentine's Day, with the commercials running of the flowers, the jewelry on sale, everything like that. And you think you have someone. We've even had cases where that scammer will send you flowers and you think, well, he is real. He's sending me flowers. He loves me. Yeah. And I can't help that his card broke down and he wants to come visit me. If you've never met this person in person, that's a red flag. If they can't FaceTime you because their phone's broke, that's another red flag. If they're asking for any money, definitely
phone broke.
Big red flag is if they don't want you to tell anybody about their relationship. They're trying to isolate you because they don't want your family to know about them. Because
thank you, everybody, for joining me.
They're tied to their money, which is you. You're now their income. They will do everything they can. They get sloppy along the way. Sometimes they might confuse you with somebody else that they're scamming. For example, instead of calling me Jennifer, they might call me Jessica. So pick up on things like that. I can't. And the biggest thing is, do not be ashamed or embarrassed if you fell for the scam, or if you think you might be talking to somebody that is a scammer. Call us. Call me directly. We'll look it up. We'll verify it. If you fall for a scam, we'll get you to the right resources like the Federal Trade Commission, BBB Scam Tracker, because we don't want this to happen to anybody else, but especially our loved ones. Like I was saying, I've had people that are 100 years old fall for the scam. I've had teenagers, 14, 16. They shouldn't be on social media looking for love, but they are. Be
careful. Old-fashioned way at school or something.
Exactly. They go to church. Not anymore. And we just need to be on our tiptoes. We need to be extra cautious. Again, if you think it's somebody from your past, look them up. Call that actual person. Don't believe just because they contact you out of the blue. Also, don't believe your telephone, because scammers have the technology called spoofing, where they can change the phone number and the name and the phone to make it look like it is that person calling you. Like Brad Pitt is calling you. No, he's not. They have that technology. Also, phishing emails. If they send you that email, it's not them. So trust it. And again, don't give away your money. We've seen people lose their life savings. A few years ago, I had the sweetest gentleman. He had to go back to work. You know, he's 71 years old. He had to go back to work because
Wow.
he lost everything. And he still believes that person's real and they're out there and they love them.
Oh, wow.
So it just,
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, Jennifer Salazar, thank you for all that valuable information and education from the Better Business Bureau. We appreciate your time. And of course, we want to wish the people out there looking for love online the best and to be careful. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, everybody. Okay, let's go over some of the tricks of the trade pertaining to scamming, what to look for. I will also add my own 2 cents into things I've noticed by being online myself. I am currently on 2 date sites. It is not the best experience, but it's something I do just to see if one day a nice fella comes along. So I'm going to give you what she has mentioned, and then I will add my own into the criteria of what to look for. Video chatting. Always video chat with the person. If he or she does not want to video chat, block, delete. Accidents. They lost their green card. They lost their visa. They lost their ID. They were in the airport. Their luggage got stolen, misplaced, block, delete. Money laundering. Starting out, sending you gifts, money, and then next thing you know, they want money back in return. You go ahead and send it because they've already repaid you possibly from a loan. Do not do that. Do not send money in gift boxes, cornflake boxes. A woman once sent money to a foreigner by cornflake box. She was on the Dr. Phil show many years ago. You cannot do that. It's against the law to send cash in the mail, especially abroad. So telling you now, in case somebody asks. Foreign profiles. Now, there are probably some good people out there that live abroad, the UK, Africa, Spain, whatever. But you need to be cautious because a lot of the scamming comes from abroad. It is either young men, young kids pretending to be a man or a woman, different race, different background. You don't know because you're only looking at a picture. They're always hoping that you never video chat. So always ask to video chat. If the person cannot, please, if they cannot, remove yourself from the equation. Reverse lookup. Call this Better Business Bureaus. To get reverse lookup, they can help you out to find if these pictures that have been sent to you or I guess in some type of database, because they're now building databases of schemers, scammers, so that way people already know who to look out for, people who have probably been in investigations, arrested for fraud, so on and so forth. Once again, never send money. Pictures are recycled. They're still pictures off the internet profiles. This is why it's very dangerous to even be on social media because you do not know where your pictures go, such as you sending pictures to somebody you like, interested in dating. You don't know where your pictures are. Many people have found their pictures on porn sites. Throw that in there. So this is why you have to be very careful about being on social media. You do not know what people will do with your pictures. I remember once being here watching a chat on someone's channel. I can't remember if it was my channel or someone else's channel, and someone had taken my picture and put it on a profile commenting as Everyday Shenanigans, my former YouTube name. That was real cute. Human contact. We all get lonely. Want a date, want affection, want emotion, company. Human touch, but it can cost you everything, because you don't know people. So it doesn't matter if you're 18, 101, as you heard her mention of someone that she had came in contact with who obviously must have gotten scammed. People become lonely, people get lonely. And people want someone to talk to, somebody to do things with. And so if it's just a friendly hello, it makes people feel good. Oh, somebody thought of me. Somebody's in my inbox saying hello, but you do not know that person. So if they tell you that they're an old friend from high school, college, you need to go and find that person's actual profile on Facebook, IG, which is however, send them a message or just send them a friend request and then tell them, hi, I'm such and such from, Johnson & Johnson High School. I got a message from you and I was just calling to message you to see if it was you or not, and then wait for a response. Okay, what else do I have? Phone broke. That's not even worth talking about. Not even worth talking about. They tell you their phone is broke. I will give you a story on that, how someone tried to scam the queen with that line. Their phone was broke. Okay? What else do I have? And yes, the barn of the money is just the build-up. Because even if they're nice, shipping you flowers, gifts, yes, eventually they will be wanting more from you, and possibly it'll just be you sending the money. And also there's a scammer, one of this, that was a documentary made about that one guy from Love Fraud, a Showtime special. He would take money from women, steal their identities to apply for money. I think that was the one. Such as, what am I trying to say? He would take money from one woman and then spend it on another woman. So it was just a repetitive cycle of really just borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Now, a lot of guys don't do that. They just go in for the hunt, the kill, get the money from one lady, drop her, get on to the next. But this guy, he, made it seem like he cared about them, married them. But then while he's getting close to them, he's stealing things personal, such as their identity, going in their emails, learning special things, passwords, codes to borrow money off their name. Then he takes that money, lives off of it, takes the money also to woo the next lady. Then once he's milked Lady A out of everything, he drops her, runs off with Lady B, starts to cycle over again. And before you know it, he's got 3 or 4 wives in different states. That's another mechanism of scamming. Mixing up your name. Well, your name is Judy. He's calling you Mary. And then you're asking, who's Mary? So then naturally he comes up with some random excuse. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of, the lady at work. We talk all the time on the phone. Well, it's not the lady at work. It's 9 times out of 10. He doesn't have a job. He's mixing you up with Mary, who he's also scamming. Report. Call the Better Business Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, and drop the dime. If indeed you have given money and you realize you have been scammed, you can't reach them, change phone numbers, emails, whatsoever, report the person. Once again, if you have a way of calling the actual person, getting in contact with them, their profile, if somebody you thought you knew in your past, just send them a message to let them know, hey, I got a message from you, just want to verify that it is you. Spoofing, that's changing of telephone numbers, pretending it's a number with a person's name, and you're thinking, oh, this is the actual John Jackson, but it ain't. There are many ways that people maneuver with the telephone shuffle, such as, what am I trying to say? Calling from a number, you think it's a real number, but it's not. They can change numbers from Ohio, different states. They do a lot of crafty things. That's why these people don't work, because it takes a lot of time to sit here and come up with all these mechanisms with spoofing, and you thinking they're calling from, let's say, New York. The number says New York, but actually they're sitting in Ohio. That's my point. Emails, always wanting an email. Hell no. 2024, hell no. Why should we email each other? We're not business partners. We're not talking business. You should only email people when it's business related. Work, government, state. But emailing regular people for what? I hear people say that all the time. Oh, I sent you an email. You gonna send the queen shit. I'll talk to you. Because first of all, I ain't doing no emails with nobody I know. If it's not business or something, I don't do that email shit. No. Because you already got enough spamming and emails. As soon as you make an email, you're already inviting spammers. I want you to come back to Hulu and Netflix and all that. You don't even know who you're talking to. Hey, you just won a prize. Remember a couple years ago when I got on Facebook, 2018. Oh, that's all they do. Spin that wheel. Oh, you won something. Da, 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 da. And then we're going to see you free detergent, this and that. You never got nothing. So this is why you have to be careful about trying to enter sweepstakes, contests, replying to emails. Very dangerous to reply to things in emails because that has your IP address attached to it. Always think, 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 think. Now, Queen's own personal tips of what to look out for a scammer. This is something I've noticed with foreigners. They speak in broken English, such as they space their words, they put commas after statements. They might say, "How are you today?" And then it's space, 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 question mark. Americans do not write like that. Even the most illiterate of a human knows put a question mark after a question, and if they make a statement, they put a period. So they might say, "Hey, today I walked the dog," but then they put a question mark behind it. Well, did you walk the dog? Are you asking me, do I know if you walked your dog? Okay, just giving you a for instance, everybody. Thank you so much. Broken English, question marks after statements, spaces after the question, then the question mark, which is very odd. The question mark is like spaces over from the last letter. We don't write like that in America. Okay? Asking you, how are you doing over there? Over where? When you say over there, you're basically telling me that you are abroad. That's my synopsis from that question. Because here in the States, we don't need to say, how are you over there? Even if I'm in New York and you're in California, what would I say? How's the weather there? How are you doing? What's the temperature? What y'all got going on? But rarely do we ask people, what are they doing over there? How are you doing over there? That is what a lot of foreign men ask. How are you over there? Pictures that look like photo stills. They look like they came out of a magazine. Those are usually uploaded pictures of other people stolen from their profiles, IG pages, so on and so forth, magazines, whatever. Broken English, photo stills. Wanting to ask you, if you're on a date site, for instance, would you like to be my sugar baby? This is serious. Contact me. Call me on this number. I don't be on here all the time. That's another scam. And it may actually even be an American trying to scam you out of some money. That's one thing they always say. I don't be on here all the time. Well, if you're not on here all the time, why the hell are you on a date site? That makes no sense. You obviously aren't trying to meet anybody, because that makes no sense to say, I don't be on here all the time. You can contact me over at, such and such, Yahoo, Gmail. Don't even bother, block, delete. Okay? Pushing you off the site to another site, such as the Yahoo, the Gmail, another phone number. We haven't even held a conversation. And the only thing you can message me is, I don't really be over here. Here, call me over here or meet me over here at this email, blah, 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 block, delete. Never leave the site to go to another site, another email. Yahoo, it's a scam. Because we're already on a site, okay? We're already on an app. So what is the point of being on app 1 to go to app 2? That's dumb. But people fall for it all the time. And that's to get you in a more secure place to milk you dry. Okay? So just throwing out some things that I've encountered being on the date site, having random people message me, through IG, Facebook, whatever. Oh, all that Bitcoin bullshit, block, delete. You have women doing it, men doing it. You can be on somebody's Facebook page commenting, and then somebody will go under your comment and reply, here, I got an offer for you. Call me at this. Reach out to me. Hell no, I'm not messaging you. I'm not calling you about no Bitcoin, because that's a big scam too, that Bitcoin shit, Cash App. Get a life. I don't have time for that junk. You got to know how to read between the BS, because they do that. Go all the way down a person's Facebook page. Contact me. Taking up a whole person's Facebook page, commenting back to the people who are commenting to the owner of the Facebook page. And it has nothing to do with what the post is about. The post could be a birthday post. And you saying happy birthday to somebody. Then somebody jumps in behind you to reply, hey, call me. I got an offer for you. I got a job opportunity for you. And Don't do it. Before, years ago, there was a scam where they get in your messenger and tell you, they would pretend to be a friend of yours, Facebook friend. Hey, how you doing? You respond, I'm good. Then they say, hey, I got some good news for you. Then you say what? And then they say, oh, I've got this great opportunity. I came into some money, block, delete, and call the person you know to tell them somebody's hacked their account. Okay? Somebody's hacked the account. All right. Yeah, well. My mom's dead, so I don't think you would be my mother. How about that? See what I'm saying? Stupid people. Back to what I was saying. You want to be aware of the people you meet. Now, hello, Evie. Thanks for joining me. Thank you. Finally. So, besides foreigners scamming you, you can get scammed by people right here stateside. People are scammed and used and manipulated every day. So it's not just scammers, foreigners. We also have people right here stateside who will meet and greet you out in the public. Doesn't have to be on social media. They can meet you at the grocery store, whatever, but they're just out for the hunt, out for the take, looking for a place to stay, looking for somebody that can give them money. It is what it is. So it's not necessarily just being scammed by scammers abroad, but people can scam you and know you. Okay, you can get scammed by people you know, want you to go into a real estate deal or venture or whatever. It could be anything. But right now, my main focus tonight is about scammers abroad. And that's where we're going to jump into. We're going to talk about foreigners. So I hope some of these tips were helpful. Whether you get on a date site or not, let me make this clear to many people. When you all say, don't talk to people online, don't talk to guys online, they're the worst people to try to talk to and date, whether it's Facebook, date site. The thing you need to understand about that comment is that it makes no sense. People are people. So the people you meet online, date site, Facebook, wherever, if they are a dog, they are a dog. The app is just an easier way to meet people without having to leave your house, okay? This is how people meet up, hook up, get scammed, robbed, and even murdered, okay? Let's keep it real. So when people say, oh, I would never talk to anybody online, well, everybody you talk to is online. You think that guy you met at the grocery store, he's not in somebody's inbox? He's not messaging 50, 60 women a day? Oh, you look cute. Oh, you look pretty. What's your name? What you got going on? You want to go out? Can I come over to your house? He's not going to tell you that. It's a myth. Oh, don't talk to nobody online. Everybody's online. That's the point. Women go in men's inboxes and message them to flirt, solicit for sex, whatever. So why do you think the guy you met at the grocery store or church, he's not online on a date site trying to pick up somebody or in somebody's inbox trying to pick up a woman? Please get off of that horse, because I've had to tell many people that. There are married men on date sites. There are married men in women's inboxes. Married women, people in relationships, the same people you see at the grocery store, your job, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your children, they go in people's inboxes and flirt, solicit. So stop saying that. Don't talk to nobody online. Don't go on a date site. A dog is a dog. If he's a dog in life, then he's the dog online. He's a dog on the date site. Bottom line. Let's get on with the next commentary. Thank you for joining me. All right. Okay. WRTV Indianapolis is the source. 1 year ago, 84-year-old woman loses $98,000 in online romance scam. Thank you for joining me.
Valentine's Day is just 2 weeks away. WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny is digging into why romance scams are now on the rise. It's a story you need to share with anyone looking for love.
Romance scams are skyrocketing. Complaints grew 25% from 2019 to 2021, according to the FBI. A Westfield woman says money isn't the only thing she lost.
Pat Brightcruse became a widow in 2020.
It was very lonely after that.
Using a dating website, the Westfield woman met her match, a man named Lewis.
And he told me his age. He was 62. And I told him I was 83 at the time. And he says, age is just a number. I don't care.
Pat says Lewis had an accent that made it hard to understand him on the phone. He encouraged Pat to text with him away from the dating website. They texted a lot, exchanging hundreds of intimate messages for months. Like this one. Good morning, my queen. I hope you had enough rest last night. I pray for blessings and grace for both of us. I love you.
And it got extremely romantic. And he said, can't wait to be with you. And I mean, he just drew me in. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with him.
In those texts, Lewis sent pictures, supposedly, of himself.
And he asked me to send him pictures. You know, he says, you're absolutely gorgeous.
Pat says Lewis claimed to be working for a construction company in Montreal and made plans to visit, even sending her a picture of his plane ticket.
He said, we'll probably spend 24 hours in bed. I said, now let me know when you arrive so I can come pick you up. And he never did.
Over the course of 6 months, Lewis convinced Pat to send him 5 checks to help with his business. Money she thought was going to her lover, instead pocketed by scammers.
$98,547.
What do you think when you see that total?
Makes me ill. I want to throw up that I was that vulnerable.
Pat became suspicious when Lewis sent her this contract asking her for $500,000 to invest in his business. It listed a Fort Wayne address, but when Pat checked it out in person, it was bogus.
And then he stopped calling, he stopped texting. After about 30 days when he realized I didn't have any more money.
What was this like emotionally?
I was heartbroken.
Romance scams are big business for criminals. They prey on your heartstrings. Nationwide, they cost Americans nearly $1 billion in 2021.
There was a significant increase in romance scams.
Scott Barnhart is the Director of Consumer Protection at the Indiana Attorney General's office.
Why not catch these guys?
Well, these are very sophisticated operations. A lot of this is offshore. It's very difficult for us to pursue these individuals in foreign entities in foreign countries and focus on getting the money here. But once it gets offshore, it's very difficult for us to track it and trace it and try to catch the bad guys.
Barnhart says Pat missed common red flags, including encouraging you to communicate off the dating site, asking you to invest in their business, and not wanting to meet in person, instead relying on photos.
Where are those pictures coming from?
There are millions of images online that scammers have access to and can pull off of social media platforms.
WRTV
Dave, come on.
used reverse imaging on the photos Lewis sent to Pat, and we couldn't find anything.
Why are these scams so lucrative?
So when you think about phishing scams, when you think about other scams, it's one hit and out. These are so lucrative because people convince themselves, well, this person has been communicating with me for months. There's no way that this is a scam.
A family member filed complaints on Pat's behalf with Westfield Police and the FBI.
Looking back at everything and knowing what you know now, how does that make you feel?
Makes me feel horrible, makes me feel dirty, makes me feel stupid.
Pat isn't confident she'll get her money back, but she is confident about one thing.
Do you think you'll find love again?
Oh yeah, but not that way. I'll never be scammed again.
You can protect yourself by never sending money to someone you've never met in person. Cut off contact if they ask for your personal information, like your credit card or bank account numbers. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Oh, we did.
All right. 84-year-old woman, $98,000. Nice apartment she's living in. It looks like an apartment or house. So she got something to still stay afloat. Hold on, let me see what else this guy got.
Reach out to Westville Police about Pat's case, and the assistant chief told us, quote, I've asked our criminal investigations division to assess this report and determine if additional investigative actions are warranted. We also reached out to the FBI, which cannot confirm or deny investigations.
Well, hopefully somebody did something. But in the end, what you do with your money is your choice. If you want to give somebody money, it is your choice. That it is. Hello, everybody in the chat. I brought you all a story a few months ago pertaining to an East Tennessee man who killed himself because he had dwindled away his savings by contacting someone online thinking she was a celebrity. And obviously, he felt the need to take his own life because I'm assuming he thought his wife would find out. Maybe she did. I'm not sure. But I'm going to read you the said commentary. It's dated November 29, 2023. Romance scam by New Jersey couple discovered after victim dies by suicide. A New Jersey couple targeted a retired Tennessee teacher in a $100,000 celebrity romance scam that was reported to investigators by his family after the 74-year-old died by suicide last month, authorities said. The Jonesboro, Tennessee man was found dead in his home October 23rd, according to court papers. He had been tricked into thinking he was in a romantic relationship with a celebrity and later directed by the scammers to pay fines to the FBI to settle a phony sexual harassment suit, the court documents state. Later, the man and his family were threatened by email, the Washington County Sheriff's Office said in a statement. Piscataway residents Shinagoram Anwimir, 34, and Salma Abdal Kareem, 27, were charged last week with 3 counts each of financial exploitation of an elderly, vulnerable person, and 2 counts each of theft and criminal impersonation. Additional charges are pending. Unaware is a member of the Army National Guard, according to DailyBeast.com, the first to report on the details of the scam. Anwimir and Abdal Kareem are being held in Tennessee on $500,000 bail ahead of a detention hearing scheduled for Wednesday, the sheriff's office said in a statement. The New Jersey pair initiated contact with the Tennessee senior citizen in August, tricking him into thinking he was corresponding with a well-known female actress, according to court papers. A short time later, Anwimir and Abdal Kareem began also posing as the FBI, authorities said. They contacted the man from a Gmail email address, told him he was being sued for sexual harassment of the actress, and said he would have to pay fines to resolve the matter, authorities said. I'm not going to say their names anymore because I can barely pronounce them. Both were directed the man in early October to mail a check to an FBI office, which was actually their home address in Piscataway, authorities said. The man wrote a $5,500 check out to the FBI, which led to harsh response from the scammers, authorities said. The scammers scolded the victim for writing the check to the FBI, stating that it would raise suspicions, the charging document said. The scammer stated that there would now be a $40,000 penalty since the scammer did not follow directions. The man mailed multiple other checks to the Piscataway address, in one instance taking out a loan against his personal vehicle, authorities said. The checks totaled $87,500, says the sheriff. One of the checks was cashed at Navy Federal Credit Union on Route 34 in Colts Neck, the complaint said. Surveillance video from the credit union shows both depositing the $41,000 check, authorities said. Attorney information for both was not immediately available. The man's family members found emails related to the scams after his death and brought his tablet to authorities. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hello, everybody in the chat. You see, the part of the story, like many of the stories, where some of us would judge and say, how in the world could he not have known that he was not being scammed? The FBI, for one, the FBI is never going to contact you by mail or email. They don't do that. If the FBI has a problem with you, investigating you, come to issue a warrant, they will contact you face to face, number one. There will be no phone calls. There will be no emails. There is no getting in your messenger, IG, TikTok, X, Snapchat. That's not how the FBI works. The only people that may contact you by mail, according to fraud or old monies, that is the state governments, such as Department of Human Services and the IRS, not the FBI. Let me say it again. The FBI will never contact you by Gmail. The FBI will never ask you for money. That's why they scolded him. But if had you told him how to send the money, hello, you had to have told him that. Why would you put the FBI on the check? That's going to raise suspicions. You damn right. You damn right. Because bank tellers are told what to look for when it comes to bringing in checks to cash. Whether you are involved in the scheme or not, they still are supposed to look for certain things on checks. Who is the celebrity that was claiming to be contacting him? Why in the world, one, did he believe a celebrity would be talking to him? Was it a younger woman, middle-aged woman, older woman? We also learned that he was married, this elderly person. So although he was elderly, he still had a lot to lose. His life, his livelihood, maybe the wife would want to divorce him. Shame. She might go out and tell people what he did. He would be embarrassed. Nice things were said about him from what I read, an obituary wall. And it's shameful. Because in the end, he was committing what some may say a sin, because you're out here soliciting people online when you're also a married man. So imagine the betrayal that the wife felt to see this man had been messaging women and also sending money on a phony fraud. That's a lot to digest. 7-year-olds cheating on one another or attempting to cheat, and then the man kills himself because he's dwindled all the savings. And I'm sure that's why he killed himself, because he's gone in their bank account and taken out monies and then borrowing against his car. Foolish. He had to know something wasn't right as soon as she started asking for money. As I said to you all earlier, why would a famous person ask a regular civilian to send them money and they're wealthy? And most might say, why would a movie star or a famous person want to be dating a regular old retired school teacher? Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but come on, let's get serious. You're a regular old guy in East Tennessee, and a famous person is pretending, sending you letters, and we know she never showed herself because it's a black couple who were doing the scamming. Then this young black girl, foreigner, whatever she is, she's in the National Guard. So how disrespectful is that? This is what you do in your spare time to make money? You're supposed to be trying to serve our country, and this is all you can think of is to scam an elderly man. Pray they didn't have children. Loneliness is what gets you in this predicament. Wanting the comfort of another human being, the touch of another human being, conversation. But how is it love if you're the only one putting in the work. And that would be the same if the person was standing right here in front of you. If you are doing all the work, it is not love. You can't touch them. You can't see them. You're not even video chatting. So see, it goes back to the signs that I mentioned earlier in this live stream. How in the world are you infatuated with a human being and you haven't even looked at them through a phone, a computer, an iPad? Say it again. You have not looked at the other person through the cell phone device. Email, letters, app talking is not real. If a person cannot video chat you, with you, hang up the line, stop texting. How much texting can you do with a human being? And I say this also with others, grown-up people that we see and know. I am not a texter. I don't care to text. Don't text me shit. If that's the only way you can talk to me, I prefer you keep it moving. I'm 53. I'm not 23. I'm not 13. I am not about to sit here and hold a fucking conversation with you windedly through a damn text. Young people like to do it, and now even older people are stupidly texting back and forth. They don't like what I'm saying, but it is impersonal. We now live in a society ran by apps. There was a time when people called you on the phone. They visited you. They wrote you letters. Soon as somebody came up with the idea of fucking Facebook, everybody lost their damn minds. Cell phones gave you the opportunity to talk. Then some stupid person said, oh, I'm going to make it where they can message each other by typing. Now, that's all people do. Get mad, send a text. Happy, send a text. Somebody died, send a text. Somebody had a baby, send a text. It's impersonal. You don't send important things through a text. And anybody can pretend to be that person. This is why you don't text. Somebody can get a hold of their phone and you're sitting here texting somebody who is not the owner of the phone. And we have heard those stories. Talking to a guy, you think he's single, you're texting his girlfriend, his wife. Ding, ding, ding. Maybe a friend, brother, got a hold of his phone, texting you back. And God knows people do it in nefarious situations such as death. Pretend to be a person, and that person's not even alive, and they're texting you. And you think they're alive texting you, but they're not. This is why you need to talk to people on the phone. Always video chat when you meet people through an app. If they do not want to video chat, keep it moving. Broke phone, BS. Let's go back down memory lane with the Queen. Thank you for joining me. As I told you, the Queen is currently on 2 date sites, and I do not talk to people on it regularly, but if somebody piques my interest and I decide I want to respond to a hello or whatever, I will respond. But at the moment, I'm not windedly talking to anyone on the date apps. Someone just sent me a message not too long ago, in the past hour. I have not responded because they have a habit I don't care for. So, no thank you. Where do I begin? The broken phone. There was a very nice looking black male who said he lived in North Carolina. This was many years ago, probably around 2019. And we were talking, texting back and forth through the app, through the date site. And he started telling me that there was a venue coming to town with a lot of famous people, musicians, so on and so forth. So he was saying he wanted to invite me there. So I was listening. He told me how much it would cost for the venue, for the tickets and everything. And he was saying he needed about $250, I guess, for, I don't know if it was a hotel stay or something. I can't remember. So this is when my eyebrows began to rise. If it was through work and you got free tickets to attend this 2-day event, why would you want me to send you money for anything pertaining to the venue? So that was my question to myself. So I let him go on and on about the venue, who was coming. And my spirit just told me this man is trying to use you and get money out of you. And how many people has he called and threw this bullshit at? So he kept on talking about how much it costs and when he needed to hurry up and get the money so he could secure the ticket or the hotel's fee, whatever it was. So once a person is trying to hound you or set a deadline of when you need to send the money in or send him the money, that's when you should already know it's a scam. Because one, you said you got free tickets to the event. So why would I need to send you money for something that was allegedly free through your job? It's kind of like if your job gave you 2 tickets to the opera. Why would you need to ask somebody, hey, would you like to go to the opera? My job just gave me 2 tickets. And then you say, oh, sure, I'd love to go. But then in turn, they say, oh, but I might need 150 from you. I need 150 for this or this reason. Common sense should tell you, no, thank you. Okay? Why in the world would I send you $250 on something that is supposed to be already free? Free tickets from your job to attend this event with a bunch of famous people. I can't remember one of the famous people that was coming, but he had mentioned a certain person. So my better half was like, So early one morning, I felt so bad. I called a certain person who lives in Charlotte. And I sent her a text first, of course. And I texted her, and then I said, if you don't mind, I want to talk to you about something. I hate to bother you so early. So I said, hey, how you doing? I know you live in Charlotte. I was wondering if such and such is coming to town on this weekend. And then she said, I hadn't heard that they were coming to town. I said, well, is there some type of event where there's going to be a lot of famous people and musicians and like a concert or whatever, 2-day event? She said, no, I hadn't heard of anything. And she said, this just don't sound right. So I ended up calling the Ticketmaster in Charlotte. And there was no venue for that weekend. And anybody knows Ticketmaster is a well-known ticket holder of events, concerts, which is a weapon. So if Ticketmaster didn't have the event in its roster, that should tell you the person is lying. So I've called this person in Charlotte who goes out all the time, goes to events. They didn't hear of the famous person coming to town with other famous people. Called the Ticketmaster. They didn't have it on their roster. So I used my better half and said, this Negro is lying. So I get back into the message system and I let him know. I said, nobody is coming to town. So he starts cursing me out. Who are you to tell me blah, blah, blah? And that told me everything I needed to know right there. First of all, why are you using derogatory language? Because I let you know that I went in the belly of the beast and dug around, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I knew it didn't sound right anyway when you asked for the money. I really didn't have to go ask anybody or call the Ticketmaster. You offered me something that's allegedly free. So how do you go from it's free to I need money for this, this, and this? Okay? So he went on and on and on, and I let his ass know, honey, I already know you ain't the person in those pictures because one, you sitting here talking about your phone is broke, it's cracked, the screen is this and this. We tried the video chat. You talking about you can't see me and all this old bullshit. Then we go from that to you trying to get money out of me for a venue that you know damn well don't exist. If you got these tickets from your job, why are you asking me for fucking money? Block, delete. Why was it a few months ago? It hasn't even been that long, I don't think. I get a message through the date site. I can't remember if they spoke hello or it just says this person's interested in you. Why it looks so familiar, that photo. Like, I believe it's the same joker that tried to scam me out of money years ago for that Charlotte event. Queen kept it moving, and I acted like I never even saw the message or the like or whatever. Second story. I was talking to a foreigner, nice looking guy, younger. We would talk daily. And my better half told me it's not going to go anywhere because one, they live abroad and I'm not about to try to go over there and I'm not trying to send anybody over here and I'm not about to pay for anything, so on and so forth. So we're talking, don't know how long we talked, wasn't very long. He tells me I need to come over there. And that's one of the signs as well of a scammer. I'm going to add that to the list. They always want you to travel over there. And that's usually the scammer who's trying to get a wife and a visa. Because, you know, you got different types of scammers, okay? Let me make that clear. They all maneuver differently. So with most of the African men, they always want the woman to come over there, okay? So that's to get you to come over, spend all your damn money, go back. The next thing you know, they might start asking you for money. And the next thing you know, he's going to ask if he can come see you. Well, if he don't have no damn money, that's where you come in and you're going to be the one buying the damn plane tickets and paying for all the paperwork to get them to come over to the United States. But anywho, he says, why don't you try to come over here to visit me? I would love for you to come over here. Let me show you around where I live. I think he lived in Dubai. That's what he said. So, and I think he worked security. He had a security desk job, worked in a building. So I was like, no, I don't have that kind of money to travel abroad. I would love to, you know, travel, but I don't have that kind of money to travel abroad. So he just kept going on and on and on about me coming over there. Now, mind you, I'm steady telling this person, I don't have that kind of money. And he's steady telling me, oh, I know you can get the money. Tickets aren't as expensive as you think. Oh, I know somebody that works for the airlines. Now, here comes the con. I have a friend that works for the airlines, and I will check the airlines because I'm sure he can get you a ticket really, really cheap. I said, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, let me call, verify, you know, the cheapest ticket coming from, you know, Knoxville, whatever, over to here. So he gets back with me. He starts quoting prices for airline tickets. And then he says, if you send me the money, I can get it cheaper. Stay woke, everybody. If you send me the money, I can get the ticket cheaper. I thought, this motherfucker must think I'm crazy. How stupid would I be to send you money to get my ticket cheaper through your friend? I want y'all to just think about that for just a second. But you see, if you are weak-minded and so enamored with a complete stranger, you would send him the money. In common sense, you would never get the ticket. There would never be a ticket. And he possibly would cut me off and keep it moving. But that's the point of the scam, is to do whatever I need to do to secure the bag, by all means necessary. So that was his way to see if I was the type that would send the money. That's what time of day it was. Well, let me see what she's about. Let me see if she trusts me to send the money. I'm not a fool. I've done some crazy things in my time, put up with a lot of nonsense, but I'm not sending no lump sum of money to a complete stranger to buy me a cheap airline ticket. Because 9 times out of 10, the friend doesn't exist either. Okay? So I think I sent a text or something and said to him, you must really think I'm stupid. I can't remember. I said something crazy. And then I moved on, never looked back. So some months went by, or a year or so. I was, his name came up some kind of way. I don't know if it was on IG, Facebook, or something. And I looked at his profile. How interesting to see him with a really beautiful girl on a mug. He had a mug sitting like on his desk in the photograph. And I said to myself, well, I guess he found him a new victim. I said, I guess he found him a new victim. Now, she might have been, a young lady that lived over there in Dubai, or she might be hell in the United States. I don't know, didn't care. All I said to myself is, good luck, Cookie, because you sure gonna need it. Now, scenario number 3. When I first came to the date site, there was a white man that messaged me. He perpetrated himself to be in the U.S. Army. The number he was calling me from through text was Ohio. But when I started digging around and pulling up his profile on Facebook, it said he was like in Oregon or Washington State, one of the two. So that stuck out to me as strange. So I mentioned it to him one day. And I said, well, you're calling me from an Ohio number, but your profile says you're from Washington or Oregon. And so he, made up some excuse. And I think he got a little bit perturbed. He would always text, never would call me directly, which I knew was strange. And then one day he said he was out in the field, like he was, what I would say at war, basically. So the first thing I told myself, what person can text you with a phone while they're out in the battlefield, but can't even video chat with you? So I knew better. You can text me on the battlefield, but you can't video chat with me? So I said something about it. So finally he was making little snide remarks like, oh, you're so difficult and blah, blah, blah. I said, how am I difficult when all you do is text? I said, you text all the time. You sit here and tell me you've lived in Florida and these places, but then when I ask you about something, you can't give me a straight answer about anything. So I knew he was lying because he made a comment one day. I think he said the same thing, that, what are you doing down there, or something like that. And it struck me strange, the way he had worded something, because I was like, oh, he had asked me about how far I was from Florida or something. It was something about Florida. That just led me to believe he wasn't from the United States, because most people know how to ask certain questions about the South, East, West Coast, whatever. And the fact that he acted like he didn't know where Florida was, that let me know he wasn't from the United States. Hello. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, sweetheart. So it's those little things you have to pay attention to. As I told you, the broken English, making statements and then put a question mark after a statement, such as, oh, today I walked my dog, ? Well, if you walked your dog or not. So are you telling me you walked your dog, or are you asking me, do I know you walked your dog? Just little basic things like that let you know you're talking to a foreigner. And they will get in your inbox on, IG, Facebook, whatever, and they'll always start it out with, how are you doing over there? Well, if you're in Ohio, and let's say I live in Kentucky, well, we're neighboring states. Why would you ask me how am I doing over there? I could row a boat to where you allegedly live if you're in Ohio. You see what I'm saying? You have to pay attention to those little things, because it's those little things that'll show you you're not talking to an American. You're talking to a foreigner. You're talking to somebody that's on the hunt, trying to find a way to get in your pocketbook. And as you heard with this story here with this older gentleman, he got duped. Talking to someone that allegedly was famous. They would not release who the woman was. We already know she doesn't exist anyway. She's not the real famous person. They just used her pictures. But it's sad because, one, he was a married man, an older man, and obviously he was looking for something to even be talking to another woman anyway, whether it was Susie Q or Kim Kardashian, whoever. The point is, why are you on a date site and you're a married man? Lonely? Not getting along well with your wife? Want some excitement? Want to feel valued? For all I know, he might have been the type of man that had affairs. So it was easy for him to go online and solicit a woman. Or maybe the woman solicited him. Fake profile, I don't know. But the point is, he's no longer alive. This happened not too long ago, a few months ago. He took his own life in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Most of you probably have heard of Jonesboro. It's right up the street from Johnson City. And it's a tragedy because he's probably spent up all the money that he and his wife have worked so hard to attain. And imagine waking up at 70-something years old and you don't have any money in the bank, okay? Because your husband was a part of a scheme to defraud, and he stupidly sent strangers money. It's terrible. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you all so much. Lord have mercy, these usernames y'all are killing me. All right, what else we got? So we talked about the 84-year-old woman who lost $98,000. This lady's almost 100 years old. She's giving up her money. We went to Fox Twigs. They gave you information on what to look for with schemers, scammers. It's just a horrible situation to be in. I don't wish it on anybody. I really don't. So you have to be careful in talking to people because you don't know people. So the Queen is giving you 3 scenarios of people trying to scheme, scam, or pretend to be somebody else. And with the guy who was in the Army, I realized he stole that white guy's profile. He wasn't real because I knew better. Nobody's in the battlefield talking on a cell phone. You could never video chat. Then he started talking smart to me about, oh, you're too difficult to talk to, blah, blah, blah. He just didn't want me asking questions. So once he realized, okay, she's asking too many questions, she's got too many complaints, I'm going to keep it moving. And it didn't matter because I cut him off. Because I let him know, you're not the guy in the picture. I said, I've already decided you are fake, you're fraudulent, foreigner, because you can't video chat. You're calling me from Ohio, an Ohio number, but you're from Oregon or Washington, but yet you're overseas fighting in a war. So how's you can text me on the battlefield, but you can't video chat? That's just a bunch of bullshit. Now we're going to hear from an ex-scammer, Reformed. This was uploaded 11 months ago. WRTV Indianapolis is the source. Has he reformed himself? This is a young African male. What made him stop? Did he get in trouble, go to jail, get incarcerated, or he met Jesus? I don't know. Let's have a look, shall we? What's so funny?
All I need to do is just create a fake profile. I text them, they respond to me.
Maxwell says he talked to American women for hours on the phone.
I take my time to talk to them, and it makes it easy for them to fall in love with me.
He used this Nigerian manual on how to lure women in.
It's a format. It's a steps to.
Let me go back so you can read so I can read the title of that.
This night.
How to make a white woman fall in love with you from online chat. They have a picture of a black man and a white woman close together with money in the background. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? What are you saying? What are you all talking about down in the chat? Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord of mercy. I give up.
Nigerian manual on how to lure women in.
It's a format. It's a step-by-step instruction on how you can start a conversation with someone you're meeting online for the first time.
The manual encourages scammers to go after women over 40. They are working, hence they have the money you need. It also encourages scammers to make the conversation all about her. Con artists are told, research your target, including hobbies and pets. The manual also includes this list of 60 compliments you can use, like, you light up my life like nobody else, and you look beautiful even when you don't try. And the guide says, don't ask for money outright. Instead, it gives you examples of sob stories you can tell to get that cash.
How much money did you make scamming people?
About 80,000. I need to survive.
80,000
for my life.
Did you ever feel bad?
Yeah.
Chris felt bad enough he quit scamming and now works for Social Catfish, a company dedicated to preventing online scams through reverse search technology.
Our plan was to get married.
Pat Brightcruz of West.
Okay, so this is the same lady that I just showed you earlier who got scammed, the 84-year-old lady who gave up the $98,000, I believe. Now she's in this commentary. Very interesting.
Field wasn't scammed by Chris Maxwell, but lost nearly $100,000 in a romance scam.
We started talking as friends. You know, how are you? What are you doing? What'd you do today? Just conversation, okay? And then it grew. He says, I really care about you. And then that grew into love.
Romance scams are big business for criminals. Nationwide, they cost Americans nearly $1 billion in 2021.
Because it is very common nowadays, people meet each other online, but the difference is
this lady is from the Better Business Bureau of the local Better Business Bureau.
Actually meet in person or talk to you face to face virtually. So if you get a situation where the person doesn't even want to get on the phone with you, or they come up with an excuse left and right, or they can't video chat with you, that's going to be a huge red flag.
Exactly.
We shared the Nigerian manual with Jennifer Adamani at the Better Business Bureau. What does that say to you?
So we're people, you know, in human nature, you want acceptance, you want love.
If your match asks you for money, that's also a red flag.
They build you up, make you feel loved and wonderful, and then they say, well, it was me. Can you help me out with some money? And it's pretty, it's by the book, apparently, and there's a manual for that.
If you're meeting someone for the first time online, you have to take some precautions, you know, so you won't be scammed.
Chris Maxwell came clean with one of his victims and is now sharing tactics to help others avoid getting duped. Just remember, anyone can create a fake profile on social media to make you fall in love. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
All right, everybody. So that's two audios pertaining to the same lady, elderly Caucasian woman, 84 years of age, being scammed. And then you have this young African male who lives abroad saying he needed money to survive. So just imagine how well you can live in Africa, South Africa, off of $80,000, $50,000. That's a lot of damn money in countries that are poor. They don't have the amenities that we have here in the United States and other countries. And you're getting 5,000 here, 10,000 there. You can live a very good life. And most of those people probably do live very well off the money that they've gotten from their vulnerable victims. What is the problem in the chat? Please, somebody help me understand what the hell's going on in the chat. I'm lost. I don't know what's going on. So those are a few examples of people who've been scammed. Let's see if we can find something on the men. Sure is a lot of money. Too much. There's the queen, live like memories. One day ago, WFMY News 2, Love Beware, How to Avoid Romance Scams. Let's see what they have to say. Try to bring you some content where men were scammed.
All right, we are back with David Kirkman and Seth Boffelli from AARP, talking all things scams and things of that nature to protect your personal information. All right, I think your Zoom is better, David. Let's talk about what we were talking about right before the break. Those weird texts that we get from people that look like there's somebody trying to search for somebody else.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of those, both on Facebook Messenger and in my regular cell phone. And they ask for somebody else, or they give some information somebody else supposedly needs, and then you reply to it. You say, no, that person isn't here, that they don't use this number, got a wrong number. And they immediately respond by saying, oh, you're so kind for doing that, and you sound like a very nice person, you seem like a nice person. And they'll strike up a conversation with you. And this is just getting their foot in the door to these romance scams and other types of scams that we've been talking about. And they'll just race off with it and get you to do all these things that you really wouldn't do normally.
And I think sometimes people, when that happens to them by the phone, they just think, oh, that was just an honest, thing that happened. Or if someone comments on something that they posted on Instagram or something like that, they think, oh, that's just, they found it funny too. But it really just is a way for them to start talking to you and then try and make that relationship happen.
It really is.
And
it's very, very effective because it's so low key.
Right, it's so low key. You don't think that is like somebody that's a scammer. Okay, so Seth, let's talk about this. Someone says, are there any side hustle opportunities to make extra money on Facebook that are good and true?
Well, I don't want to say everything on social media that offers to give you extra money is not legitimate, but the vast majority of them aren't. And so that's one thing to understand. We've all had this with a friend or a family member whose account on one of these social media gets taken over, gets hacked by a criminal. The first thing that these crooks do is they go into your friend setting and they send out a message to all your friends. And it usually says something like, hey, I'm making a killing on cryptocurrency.
Yep, there you go. That's the one I mentioned.
Or did you know that we qualify for government grants? Here's a link and how to do it. And the reason that they're doing this is they're trying to impersonate.
Because that's what I want to put the camera on.
Friends and family who are in your Facebook community. So whenever you get one of those messages like that, just instantly be leery. Social media in general, I was looking at some numbers from the Federal Trade Commission. In 2022, people who encountered scams on social media, 61% of them lost money. That's many, many times more than people who got a scam text or a scam phone call or a scam email. It is so hard to tell the difference between fact and fiction on some of these social channels. These criminals create these slick-looking ads for products that you've never heard of, but look too good to be true. And so you always just have to have an extra healthy dose of skepticism on anything you see on social media, especially if money's involved.
David, we just got a follow-up question. It says, but if I get a text, does it really do any harm to answer it if you don't give them information?
Stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to just respond politely, but just be aware that this thing keeps continuing where it might be going and it could be heading straight for a scam. Take a step back.
Yeah, they just want to get their foot in the door.
The other thing I always say to people, because some people like to be on the phone and mess with them, I always say, well, I hope you like being on the phone, because answering that call, engaging on that text message just means you're going to get a lot more because the criminals know that you're willing to engage with them.
That's a good point.
Also, they start to clone your voice the more you speak to them on the phone. So if you're one of these people that wants to mess with the scammers, they're recording your voice. They're going to use AI to clone you and do all kinds of other scams using your actual voice.
Yeah, and none of us want that. All right, guys, we've got probably about like 2 minutes left or so. What would you tell people who say, well, I'm just embarrassed to tell anybody that this is going on?
We'll never be that way. Just never be that way. And that's one good thing about my former colleagues at the Attorney General's office, especially in the elder fraud unit. They're very good at not being judgmental and assuaging your worries about embarrassment and getting down to what you can actually do about the problem. Because embarrassment is one of the tools that the scammers love. They love to find somebody who's embarrassed.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think the other thing is just to understand, these are sophisticated criminals and they run like businesses, and what they do for a living is trick people out of their money. And so it's really not anything about you. They're experienced psychological manipulators, and maybe they just caught you on a bad day. And we actually have a helpline that's put in place. The number's 877-908-3360, and it's staffed by volunteers like Dave, and they help people who have been victims, who are embarrassed, who are afraid to tell their friends and family and just don't know where to turn. And for anybody that might be experiencing that, just know that there's help out there.
Okay, say that number one more time right before we go.
Yeah, it's 877-908-3360.
Okay, and what we'll do, we'll put that in our web story as well. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for spending time and giving your expertise on all of this. If you missed any of this, we want to put it for you in an easy place for you to look at, the 2 Wants to Know section on the BFNYnews2.com.
All right, everybody, that's just brief information about scams. They happen every day, not just the love scams. They have all types of scams. But yes, that is one where they steal your friends' profiles and they get in your inbox, such as Facebook, and they say, oh, yeah, I've come into some money, or I found a new way to make some money. And then as you start reading the commentary, you realize it's not the person that you know. And that's when you block, delete, report the profile, and then call the people you know to say, hey, somebody messaged me and I don't think it was you. And that's that. Just going through. Trying to look for a guy. 1 second. Because it's always women. They always showing women. What's scary is hearing that the people don't want to accept that the person is not real. I remember watching a Dr. Phil episode where Dr. Phil sent someone abroad, sent them to Africa, hunted the person down, and yet the woman still refused to believe he was not that white man that she thought she had been talking to. It's very crazy. So it's like some people you can't make them understand. It's sad. It's like, well, what will it take? Trying to find this let's see. Find one for the guys. Because we're always showing women getting duped by men. Oh my gosh. Woman sent Kevin Gates $6,000. Yeah, you sure enough have to be crazy. No way. All these about the same person. The same channel. Very strange. Can't play Dr. Phil. The copyrights. Of course, he always has the best stories. Well, I was trying to find something different. Let's see. Well, hold on, you guys. Let me see. Trying to find one with a man instead of women. I can't believe all these people making all this noise this time of night. Just ridiculous. Everybody and their mama's up this time of night. What time is it? Good Lord. Thank you all for your patience. I was trying to find one with a man instead of a woman scam.
Is about financial devastation. A King County man went from having $800,000 in his bank account to being homeless in just a few days. Investigators say it's all due to scammers.
Fox 13 News reporter AJ Janabel is talking with the victim as well as the FBI about the scam and how you can keep this from happening to you or someone you care about. AJ?
Bogdan Nalivaiko is a Ukrainian immigrant that moved to the United States several decades ago with his family. He worked hard here, he retired, and sold his home expecting to live a quiet life, but instead, he's here behind me in this hotel. He doesn't know where he'll call home next. This hotel room is now all Bogdan Nalivaiko has, and he doesn't know how long this will last.
Yeah, I feel bad. Bad. Feel bad, really bad.
Just a few weeks ago, Bogdan sold his 2,300 square foot home in Snoqualmie, the place he lived for more than a decade. He planned to move south to Auburn and live comfortably with the earnings, but that would not happen.
On April 25th, he sold his house. On the 26th, he had $800,000, and then by May 3rd, he had zero.
Julia Elders is Bogdan's daughter. She lives hundreds of miles away in Minnesota. She didn't find out what happened to her dad until he was about to be homeless.
I collapsed because I cannot imagine in such a short amount of time to lose everything you ever had.
Julia tells me scammers targeted her vulnerable 76-year-old father, claiming he had won $17 million in a sweepstakes, but asking for him to pay the taxes on the earnings first.
I mean, they got what they wanted, and they wanted everything, and they got it.
Julia tells me her father was able to take and transfer tens of thousands of dollars at a time from both Chase Bank and Bank of America to pay off the scammers.
They should have flagged this.
Any
And
idea?
then they said, you know, once I called them, they were like, we did everything we could. I'm like, what how?
I think banks are in the same position as us, where they would like to prevent this before it even happens. But the skill set of organized criminal groups does sometimes cause them to be fooled, just like the victims in the cases.
Kelly Smith is the assistant special agent in charge with the Seattle FBI. He says victims can feel embarrassed. He tells me the best thing you can do is report scams as quickly as possible and always reach out to friends and family if something seems questionable. Despite taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from Bogdan, the scammers continue to target him nonstop.
No, I'm not talking right now. I'm ignoring.
And she's in the office on Tuesday? Luckily, there is some good. Joe Kenny, who owns a moving company and met Bogdan when he had to leave his home, has been working with Julia, helping her father with documents, paperwork, and trying to get him somewhere more stable.
Better in a house than in a hotel, yes. House is everything. House is life.
Investigators tell me they have forwarded this case to the FBI. I also reached out to both banks,
Wow.
Chase Bank and Bank of America, regarding this situation. Both banks tell me they'll need more time to investigate this situation. Julia is working to raise money for her father through a GoFundMe. I'll have information on that GoFundMe at fox13seattle.com. Reporting here in King County, I'm AJ Janivelle for Fox 13 News.
I assume that's probably Washington State. And this is crazy to me. This is Fox 13 Seattle. Now, this wasn't a romance scam, but this was a scam nonetheless. See, you cannot respond to people trying to tell you you won something. Hey, I've got an investment. I got a new way for you to make money. You have to be very careful in responding to these things. And usually they're finding you either through the phone, social media, usually Facebook. That's the perfect place to try to scam people. You can't respond. It's best you don't even respond. They tell you that even with the emails. Don't click on the emails, links of things you don't know, especially in your computer, your cell phone, because they can shut your phone down, your computer down, put a virus in your phone, computer. You have to be very careful with just even going on links and things, period, dealing with social media. So then you talk about scamming. As you heard, while he's sitting here being interviewed in this hotel room, they're steady calling his phone. Like the other people told you, they clone your voice so they know what you sound like. So that's how it starts. Because I can say here as of late, my phone rings now just constantly. And it's like you may have started dealing with one company about something, and then now just out of the blue, you just got these endless effing calls about, debt, this, and help you with your debt, and help you with taxes, help you with this. And you're thinking to yourself, how did you get my damn telephone number? Because I don't know you. One recorder even called my first name out. Angela? Then she starts talking. I'm just like, what the hell is this? Just ridiculous. And then what's even more crazy? The calls are going straight to a voicemail. And that's because I've already blocked an extension of these people. Entourage, scammers, whatever. I'm getting messages, but the phone hasn't rung. It's unbelievable. It's sad. It's really sad. It's just sad. Very, very sad. Well, you have to be careful. So here's another man, sweepstakes scam. Let me say something about that. You should know better. If you have won any type of money, why would you pay on the money that you've won? It doesn't work like that. If you won something scot-free and clear, you have no reason to cut somebody a check for the money won or anything won. If someone sends you a message right now on your phone app, tells you won a car. So why should you have to pay the taxes? You only used to see that with like going on a game show, like Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune. Okay, allegedly you have to pay the taxes on those gifts that you've won, the trip, the money, whatever. Okay, but that's, you're not on a game show. So some random person getting in your inbox telling you won something or sending you an email, you should know better than to even click onto that and send any money. It's ridiculous. So then here we have another guy talking about the crypto scam. So this is what I'm saying. Don't respond to any of that stuff. You want anything, even the car scams, all that, it's best not to. Just like I've been noticing people doing that on Facebook with the highlight. Put at highlight. And then next thing you know, somebody will come up like they're with the car dealer telling you what you shouldn't be responding to. So you don't even know if that's even real. The people telling you to put at highlight to try to win a car. It's just a bunch of bull. It's just sad. There's a lot of scams out here. Not just the romance scams, people trying to get people for their money. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm not going to keep you all. Just wanted to give you a few short stories of people who've been scammed with romance scams. Just be aware.
Scams are still running rampant across the country. One woman says she was taken in by the so-called romance scam. 56,000 people fell victim to it last year alone. NBC 15's Ashley Knight tells us the story of one woman who was taken advantage of by not one, but 3 different scammers, all claiming to be in love with her.
But she had it in my room. Okay. He's here now. Sorry, my love, for not texting you.
That's one of the men texted you?
Just now.
This is the third man Bonnie Libhart formed a virtual relationship with over the last 8 years, sending pictures back and forth, praying together, and talking about a life together.
I will love you till my last breath.
But all 3 men lived overseas and started asking for money months into the relationship.
I had the money. I had the $430,000 in my bank account, in the savings account. Then I had on the house, $650,000. I got a reverse mortgage on it after I spent all the money in the $430,000. Then I just kept sending money.
Libhart says this all started about 2 years after her husband suddenly passed away.
I had no clue they were doing. I believed them. I wanted to get married again.
The Federal Trade Commission says more consumers than ever are falling for romance scammers. The commission reported victims losing $547 million in 2021 alone.
One of my friends said, I think you're being scammed. And I said, no, this guy and I talk back and forth about the Bible. We pray together. And they said, well, we got a thing coming on at the First Baptist Church in Huntsville for its fraud and romance scams.
That's when Libhart discovered it was all a lie. Libhart says her bank even called her, concerned about where she was sending all her money. But she says she's learned her lesson.
And but I'm not going to do that anymore.
Oh, wow.
God doesn't show me a man at church or somewhere they're Christians.
Ashley Knight, NBC 15 News.
Well, the Better Business Bureau also has some advice. Be wary of if you meet someone online and they're quick to move communication off social media.
Exactly.
Scammers will often hint at financial troubles before they ever ask for your money.
Yes.
Lastly, a catfish will usually begin speaking of a future together and tell you they love you quickly.
Exactly. Always want to move offline. Call this number here, text this number here. And a lot of times when you dial the number, you will probably rarely even speak to the person. They'll probably text you because if they're trying to proclaim themselves as an American, they know they can't perfect the American accent. So that's going to be a problem, okay? That's first and foremost. You can't talk to somebody and they have a foreign accent and they're pretending to be an American. Now, they may just want to act like they are a foreigner, but you have got to know how to decipher the accents per the picture, okay? May be hard for some. I just advise, just don't do it. If the pictures don't look real, such as, a real pic of a person, they look like photo stills, modeling, what I call modeling pictures, don't respond. Block, delete. Don't respond to anything about you winning anything, sending money for something that you won, sweepstakes, lottery, a car. Block, delete, report. Okay? You can do it on any app. But online meeting people, you have to be careful. Because as I said before, it doesn't necessarily have to be a foreigner using fake photos to try to scam you. You can also get scammed right here stateside by any man or woman doing just the same thing, saying they hurt themselves, they have hospital bills, their car got towed, luggage lost in the airport, whatever. They'll come up with something, just end the conversation. Because no one should be asking you for money as soon as you start a conversation. And if you start hearing, as they say, woe is me stories, pity party stories, in 30 minutes of talking, you just kindly end the conversation, whether you're texting them or you're actually talking on a phone. Just say, well, I've got to go. I've got a pot on the stove. You have a nice day. And then you kindly block them and keep it moving. You don't owe anybody an explanation. And that's the thing people don't seem to understand, especially gullible people, elderly people. They always like to explain themselves. They feel like they got to explain. Just like this lady, even now, in her mind, she's telling herself, well, I'll know if I meet him at church or he's a Christian or whatever. Well, that's what got you in this mess in the first place. You thought that guy was a Christian, but you never met him. You never seen him. So you can meet someone visibly. They don't necessarily have to exemplify what a Christian is, because talk is cheap. People are schemed even with people standing right in front of them, people they meet and greet, people they go out to eat with. They've been to your home, you've been to theirs, however it works. You can get scammed with a person visible. So you also need to know the scams of people that you can actually touch, because they can give you the same woe is me story. Oh, I'm having a problem with my rent. I'm having a problem with this. I personally do not believe a woman should be giving a man money. It's a bad habit to start. And we'll talk about that at a later date. The kind-hearted user. They've always got something going on. They're always in need of something. And they may not just directly even come out and ask you for money, but they always got something going on. And you may just feel bad and say, well, I'll give them something because they're in between places, or they're behind on their rent, or their car needed towing, or they need gas, or you just got to know to say the hell with it. Okay? Bottom line. That's my commentary. I'm going to cut it short, but we will resume this scam talk later. May do another live pertaining to being scammed. But you need to be aware in talking to anybody online and also in person. Because as I said before, if this is the motivation that a person wants to scam, let's say here stateside, they're going to do it no matter what. Whether they're online picking up women, picking up men, they're doing it in the people they meet at church, the gas station, the mall. It's all the same. And that's what people need to understand. That if it's a crook online, they are a crook, period. So it's not going to really matter to say, well, I don't trust talking to somebody online. No, I wouldn't go on a date site because, they'll try to do something. They're a liar. They're this. They're a liar regardless. The app is just an easier way to connect to people. That's all apps are. Facebook, IG, Snapchat, TikTok, date sites, WhatsApp. They're all the same. That's the one thing I don't know how to make people understand that. An app is an app. If the person is a swindler in your mind through conversations, that's just who they are. The app is just a tool. They're doing it even when they're not on an app. And that's what people need to understand. They may have other things going on in ways of swindling and conning people, okay? So that's what you need to understand. The app is just an easier tool to message people to get the scam started. God forbid they get a hold of your number, phone number, address. This is why you do not need to be giving personal information out to strangers online. You don't need to be telling people your actual location, the street you live on, the area you live. A lot of people think it's okay to just freely give out information, but you should not be doing that. Same thing with Facebook. I've told people this 1,000 times. You do not need to be showing, putting up there on the about page where you work, where you from. It's even not even a good idea to even put what high school you went to, because you can be found a multitude of ways. Once you use your government name, you can be found. As you see with these Google searches, they're coming up with all your addresses, people that are related to you, telephone numbers, and some pop up and you don't even have to pay for the search, because a lot of the searches want you to pay. When I was doing the research, a week or so ago with the Ali Mulani situation, just to see if, she had even been buried, first thing, information just popped up, her addresses, phone numbers, and I didn't even go in. It didn't even take me to the site where you have to pay, because most of those sites want you to pay, for personal information. It is what it is. Just be careful. Be careful with the people you meet in person and on social media, on an app. Know that everyone's intention is not genuine. And that's what people need to understand, because I think a lot of people have it confused that there's a certain type of person that gets online and they have grouped them into a special group that only people that go on date sites are scammers. Yeah, might be a majority of them that do, but what you need to understand, here in your own demographic, these men are also, and women as well, out to get people as well. And if they're doing it online, they're doing it wherever they meet people. It's not just the date site. Okay? Thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Stay safe this weekend. Check my community board for said polls, because I did put up a lot of polls pertaining to the Kansas City 3. Most of the questions that I had in the polls during the earlier live, I put them on the community page for those who were not in the chat to take the polls during the live stream. So if you were not present for the last live stream, feel free to go over to my community page and take the polls that's on that community page. Later today, because I'm sure it's a new day, I'd like to get into the conversation with what's going on with the migrants and this convoy and the rallying for and against the border. I am about 2 months behind on that content of the migrants, and I want to go ahead and chop that conversation up Saturday and discuss what is the solution and why has the United States waited so long to secure all borders, southern borders, because it needs to be addressed. And we have people who are destitute right now in the United States with nowhere to live, can't afford to live because rent has gone up. Homeless people. We have a homeless epidemic here in the United States. So it looks very disrespectful to house migrants from place to place, busing them around, and we have homeless people who have nowhere to sleep. That makes no sense. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeGanji 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for your time. I will be back with more stimulating content and commentary. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.